Microbes-rich fertilizer that explodes plant growth, no chemicals needed. If you've been gardening for a while, or even if you're just starting out, you've probably heard the phrase, feed the soil, not the plant. I can tell you firsthand, that advice is gold. Years ago, I used to rely on store-bought fertilizers that promised quick results. Sure, my plants looked good for a season, but the soil underneath was silently starving. It was only when I started working with microbes, yes, the invisible workforce in the soil, that I began seeing growth that felt almost unreal. Today, I want to share the exact microbes-rich fertilizer that's completely changed the way I garden, no chemicals required. Welcome to SoilSage Chronicles, where I dig into the wisdom of soil and plants and share it straight from my garden to yours. Why microbes matter more than miracle chemicals. Let's start with the obvious. Chemical fertilizers might give you a boost, but they're like feeding your plants candy. Quick sugar rush followed by a crash. Microbes, on the other hand, build a long-term pantry in the soil. They break down organic matter into forms your plants can easily absorb. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and even tiny nematodes all play a role in this underground community. Some microbes fix nitrogen from the air, others unlock phosphorus bound up in the soil, while fungi stretch their filaments like roots on steroids to bring water and nutrients closer to your plants. Think of microbes as the bridge between raw organic matter and the juicy tomato or giant sunflower you want to grow. Without them, compost is just rotting waste. With them, compost becomes rocket fuel. Here's where it gets exciting. The microbes-rich fertilizer I swear by isn't a store-bought product. It's something I make, tweak, and apply in my own garden. At its heart, it's a liquid microbial inoculant made from compost, kitchen scraps, and a few natural boosters. First, start with a base of fully finished compost or high-quality worm castings. This is your microbe starter pack. Next, add molasses or just a touch of honey. That's food for the microbes, helping them multiply like crazy. Then, mix in non-chlorinated water, rainwater is best, to create a liquid environment where microbes can thrive. After that, aerate the mixture with a simple bubbler, or by stirring vigorously every few hours. Oxygen keeps beneficial microbes alive and dominant. In just 24 to 48 hours, what you've created is called actively aerated compost tea, or AACT. When poured around plant roots or sprayed onto leaves, it's like sending in 1 billion tiny gardeners to do the heavy lifting for you. I'll never forget the first season I switched to this microbes-rich fertilizer. I had a patch of tomatoes that had always struggled. Same soil, same sun, but year after year the plants looked weak. That spring I drenched the bed with compost tea twice a week. By midsummer I had tomatoes so tall, I had to build extra supports. The leaves were a deep, glossy green, and I didn't see a single yellowing bottom leaf. The fruit production was staggering, clusters upon clusters. My neighbors came by and asked if I had secretly installed a greenhouse. That's when I knew this wasn't just gardening, it was unlocking nature's hidden engine. Compost tea is a foundation, but you can take things further with some creative twists. Over time, I've added different boosters depending on what my garden needs. Seaweed extract is, full of trace minerals and natural growth hormones that microbes help deliver to plants. Fish hydrolysate is a protein-rich amendment that, well, feeds microbes and plants simultaneously. And then there's biochar. When you inoculate it with microbes, it kind of becomes a permanent condo for beneficial bacteria and fungi, holding them in the soil for years. These aren't gimmicks. Each addition strengthens the soil's ecosystem, making sure my plants aren't just growing fast, but also staying resilient against pests, drought, and disease. I know microbial fertilizer can sound like science class jargon, but here's the simple truth. Plants evolved to grow with microbes. Out in forests and meadows, no one is sprinkling synthetic fertilizer. Microbes decompose leaves, wood, and animal waste, releasing nutrients at exactly the pace plants need. When we mimic that system in our gardens, plants thrive naturally. Even better, the soil improves year after year instead of degrading like it does with chemical fertilizers. more earthworms, darker crumbly soil, and healthier root systems, those are the signs of success. Now let me save you some trial and error. When I first tried making microbial fertilizer, I made a few classic mistakes. Using chlorinated tap water, chlorine kills microbes. If tap water is your only option, just let it sit out for 24 hours before using it. Skipping aeration is another big one. A bucket of stagnant compost water will go anaerobic fast, and you'll end up feeding your plants harmful bacteria instead of helpful ones. And then there's over-concentrating. Stronger isn't better. Always dilute compost tea about 1 to 10 with water before applying to plants. So, if you learn from these slip-ups, your garden will definitely thank you. Here's the real magic. The more you use microbes-rich fertilizer, the less dependent you become on external inputs. After 2 full seasons of consistent applications, I noticed I didn't need to add nearly as much compost to my beds. The soil had developed its own thriving microbial population, and my plants were tapping into a natural cycle of fertility. This isn't just sustainable, it's economical. A scoop of compost, some molasses and water are a lot cheaper than endless bags of chemical fertilizers. So, if you've been frustrated with inconsistent growth, or you're just tired of battling yellowing leaves and weak plants, or maybe you simply want a more natural way to garden, well, microbes are the answer. They don't just grow plants, they actually build ecosystems, and once that system is alive in your soil, your garden, it pretty much grows itself. From lettuce to pumpkins, from herbs to fruit trees, every plant I've fed with this microbes-rich fertilizer has responded with vigor. And honestly, watching my garden thrive without relying on chemicals is, deeply satisfying. It really feels like I'm finally gardening with nature instead of against it. So, that's the secret behind the insane growth I keep talking about. It's not a store-bought miracle in a bottle. It's the living, breathing community of microbes you can brew right at home. Start small, a bucket, a handful of compost, a splash of molasses. In a couple of days you'll have your own garden elixir, teeming with life. Apply it regularly, observe how your plants respond, and tweak as you go. Trust me, once you see the difference, there's no going back. And here's my challenge to you. Before the next growing season, try making your own microbes-rich fertilizer. Document it, share your results, and inspire other gardeners. If this article sparked ideas for your own garden, don't forget to subscribe to SoilSage Chronicles on YouTube for more hands-on gardening wisdom. And please, share this with a friend who could use a boost in their garden. Together, we can grow a greener, healthier future, one microbe at a time.